So I feel like people get really up in arms about devices they enjoy. One of the devices you might enjoy is the Odin 2 Mini, and everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I am not one of those people that enjoyed this device too much. And a full disclaimer, I did not pay full price for this. I'm not sponsored or anything. I got this thing for $100. It wasn't used, it was brand new from AYN, but I had some gift cards, things like that, some debit card gifts, and I got it for $100. So I've had this for about 2 weeks now, 3 weeks maybe. I've used it for a good majority of my PSP gaming, particularly for Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories on PSP. Great game, and in this form factor, it does feel really nice, but there are just so many overwhelming issues with this device that I just really don't like. Now, just so you understand where I'm coming from, I have devices that have really good battery life. I have the AYN Odin 2, Odin 2 Portal. Retro Pocket 5 has really good battery life. Steam Deck is a gaming PC, so you have to look at it a little bit differently. But I also have the Retro Pocket Mini V1 and V2, and they all have relatively good battery life. But going from those devices to this one was such an enormous adjustment for battery life. I had to completely change the way that, change my charging schedules, all that sort of thing, to be able to play this device. Before we get into charging, let's talk about form factor. The form factor for this device, it's not uncomfortable. It's just not comfortable. I wouldn't say that this is more comfortable than a Retroid Pocket Mini V2 or Mini V1. At least in a Retroid Pocket Mini, you get these ergonomic bumps, and they help so much because they give you something to hook your fingers on, and it's really, really comfortable. You feel like you're holding something, and it's nice. It's a good device ergonomically. Even the AYN Odin 2 and the Odin 2 Portal with the TPU case, even without the TPU case, it's more comfortable than this. This device, it is a flat back, but that isn't where this is unergonomic, because the Retroid Pocket 4 has a flat back, and I wouldn't necessarily say that's a horrible device. The Switch 2 and the Switch are flat devices. That isn't really that big of an issue for me. It's the weight of this. This is a heavy device, so it being flat, no ergonomics, and then it being heavy does not help it in any way. Whereas the Mini, it's not as heavy as this, but it doesn't weigh substantially less. But the fact that it has these bumps really helps it. This is too heavy for the ergonomics, so I think there has to be a bit of a balance between the two. And I understand that they were going for a PSP sort of design. They nailed it, maybe a bit too much here. And one final thing before we get into battery is the heat. So this is not an overly hot device, but you will feel it. With the Retroid Pocket Mini V2, with the AYN Odin, with basically all of my other devices that I've already named, I don't notice the heat at all, really. Unless I'm really pushing the Retroid Pocket devices, I don't really feel heat. And I don't think I ever feel heat in my other AYN products. But this device gets hot, and it's not to an uncomfortable or harmful level. Even for the device, it's not harmful, but you can feel it. And when you feel it, you can just hear that fan going on in the background, which also doesn't help the battery of the device. So even with all of its flaws, I really wanted to love this device, but the one thing I just could not get over was how bad the battery is, and there's no reason to pull a punch here. This battery is awful. And I think it's a combination of a couple different things. One, the heat, which we talked about. This device gets hot. Maybe it's the form factor, maybe it's this or that or the other, I don't know. But the fact that this device gets as hot as it does, the fans have to kick in. And when the fans kick in, You can really see, it's almost like you can see the battery draining. The other thing is this display. Now, as I understand it, this mini LED display is less efficient than an OLED display. It also doesn't look as good as an OLED display, but it's a fine looking display. I have no problems with the display, and like I say, I really wanted to love the device, but the battery just was something I couldn't get over. Even playing PSP, it felt like I could play for maybe 2 hours, and then I had to charge it. And you have to understand, my charging habits are that if something hits around 30%, I'm going to charge it. This device has the biggest battery drain by far that I own. I mean, it's almost on par with playing a PC handheld, like the ROG Ally X, and playing a PC game on it at 20 watts, and you would probably see very similar battery drain. It's probably not as bad, maybe I'm exaggerating, but you get the point. Aside from that, the device is good. Not great, but good. And the performance of it, nobody could complain. It's a really solid performing device. There's no problems that you will face here in terms of emulation, unless there are specific games that are just difficult to emulate. But this device can kind of just chug through it all. It also just has the negative impact of chugging through its own battery. So I just wanted to make a really quick video, quick little update and aside for my experience with the AYN Odin. I know there were a couple comments asking about that, so there you go. In any case, if you feel differently about the AYN Odin 2 Mini, more than happy to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this device, if you don't like this device, or what device you're using. And if you liked the video, feel free to leave a thumbs up. And if you didn't, leave a thumbs down, leave comments, subscribe, do whatever you want. And until I see you, have a good one.